Have you ever just watched a sunbeam slice through a room and seen the little dust motes dancing in the light and just wondered? I mean, really wondered. It's a feeling we all know, especially from childhood. And today, we're going to dive into a way of looking at science that is built entirely on that exact feeling of wonder. You know, it's one of those classic questions every kid asks, right? It's right up there with, why does a balloon get bigger when I blow into it? Or how come this rock sinks but this leaf floats? These aren't just random questions. They are the little sparks of curiosity that really drive us to learn about the world. In that quote, that right there is the whole game changer. In the Montessori world, a question isn't some kind of test you have to get right. Nope, it's the starting pistol for a race toward discovery. The whole point isn't just to know the answer, but to actually feel it, to experience it, and to really truly get it. So let's dig into what makes this way of teaching physics so completely different. It all starts with reframing those huge cosmic questions not as problems that need a solution, but as an open invitation to come and explore. You know, the first thing they do is just get rid of the usual stuff that scares people away from physics. We're talking about physics with no complicated formulas, no dense textbooks right off the bat. The whole focus just shifts away from memorizing abstract rules and toward just watching the world. And you can really see the difference when you put them side by side like this. On one hand, you have the traditional way. You start with a theory, you memorize a formula, you listen to a lecture. It's all very top down. But the Montessori approach, it's the exact opposite. It's bottom up. You start with what you can see with your own two eyes, you experiment with your own two hands, and all of that leads to this incredible, genuine sense of awe. And what's so important to get is that Montessori physics isn't trying to churn out a bunch of 5-year-old physicists. That's not the goal. The real idea is to introduce kids to the basic rules of their world in a way that builds a foundation for thinking like a scientist, and, maybe even more importantly, for having a deep respect for the natural world. Okay, so how does this actually work in a classroom? Well, the Montessori method is brilliant at this. It takes the entire massive universe of physics and boils it down to 4 simple, tangible things that a kid can see and touch every single day. And this is just so elegant. Instead of talking about something abstract like wavelengths, you just explore light and see how it shows you all the colors. Instead of learning about atmospheric pressure, you get to discover that air is what makes things move and what carries sound. It takes these huge, grand laws of the universe and makes them personal and easy to grasp. Now, this is a really crucial detail. By making sure each little experiment shows just one concept, the child never gets overwhelmed. They can put all of their focus on the one thing happening right in front of them, and that makes the lesson super clear, totally sensory, and absolutely unforgettable. All right, enough theory. Let's see what this actually looks like in practice. What are these simple, focused experiments that make it all click? Okay, take this classic example. A child holds a totally flat balloon. They use their own breath to blow air into it, and they watch it get bigger and bigger right there in their hands. The answer isn't told to them, they discover it. Air takes up space. It has volume. That is a huge concept, and they learned it through something simple and fun. And the same idea is used for everything. You're not just told that white light is made of all the colors. You literally hold a prism in a sunbeam and paint a rainbow across the room yourself. You don't just learn a definition for buoyancy, you feel the surprising weight of a small stone as it plunks to the bottom, while a big leaf just glides right on top. Every single one of these discoveries becomes a personal memory. So, let me paint you a picture. Imagine a little group of kids all gathered around a table. A teacher takes a clear glass of water and just places a straw in it. Nothing fancy. And to the kids, the straw suddenly looks bent, like it's broken right where it hits the water. And right away, some kid is going to shout, "The straw's broken!" And that's the perfect moment. That's the spark. Then another kid might lean in close and say, "No way, it's still straight." And just like that, you've got a real scientific debate happening. It's amazing. Now, here's the key. The teacher doesn't jump in and say, "Well, actually, that's called refraction." No way. Instead, they just ask questions. What are you seeing? Why do you think it looks like that? And through that conversation, the kids themselves are guided to the idea that the water is doing something. It's bending the light. They figure it out. And that right there is the golden rule. Curiosity always, always comes first. The explanation comes second. You let the child wonder. You let them puzzle over it. You let them come up with their own wild ideas. The fancy science word, refraction, that only comes after they've fully lived the experience. So, what's the big takeaway here? What's the lasting lesson that a child carries with them from this way of learning? Well, it really all comes down to the art of wonder and making sure they never lose it. So, the job of the adult, whether you're a teacher or a parent, is to basically be a guide to awe. You keep the lessons simple enough that they're amazing, not confusing. You have to fight that urge to just spill the beans and give the answer. Instead, you ask questions, and most importantly, you just step back and let the kid have their own aha moment. This just says it all, doesn't it? Science stops being a subject you read about in a book and it becomes part of your actual lived experience. The laws of physics aren't some abstract rules you have to memorize for a test. They're the rules of the world you play in every single day. And that really leaves us with a final thought to chew on. What if the real goal of teaching science wasn't to create a generation of kids who have all the right answers, but to raise a generation so full of wonder that they simply never ever stop asking questions?